watching an episode of SVU. And in that episode, there were 4 children being separated because there was not a home that could take all 4 of them. And I remember thinking, while we're watching this, laying in bed watching TV, going, that's just wrong. There should be a home that can take in foster children.
Children come into foster care because of abuse, neglect, parental deprivation or absence, and incarceration. There's a need for foster homes in Suffolk County because approximately 21 to 25 foster children come into care each month.
My biggest fear of becoming a foster parent was getting a bunch of kids that was out of control, that would not listen and just destructive. I overcame that by talking to the children when they come in, giving them ground rules and letting them know how a household should work.
And you're trying to make them feel like something that's horrific in their life is going to be okay. So I think that that's a challenge, and that's a skill that you need to just be constantly telling them that it is going to be okay, and then helping them to get to the next plateau is another grand challenge. It's not easy when they're separated from their family.
Technically, I was removed at 11. I went into an emergency foster family. As a middle-aged teenager, it just became too much. I did have to go to another foster family for a while. I remember being in the new foster family, sitting on the swing set with my little sister, and we kind of talked to each other and we were like, well, what do we do now? I told her, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine. We're safe. I did need to get removed from the home, ended up in a group home for a little while, where my grandmother then took me back for a little bit temporarily, while my current adoptive parents were going through the process of becoming foster parents to be able to take me under their home. And I was adopted 2 weeks after I turned 18. It's never too late.
When children come into foster care, they're assigned a caseworker that will provide casework counseling to your family and case management services to the child. The foster family is also provided with a monthly stipend to help offset the cost of caring for that child. Children come into foster care with Medicaid in place.
And we always told ourselves that if this wasn't what we want to do, we could stop at any time. And there's a little bit of freedom from that because you're under no obligation to continue down a path if it's uncomfortable at any point. So I think DSS is doing a really good job given what they have to deal with.
And for 10 weeks, the county provides you with different windows into what's really happening and the training that you're going to need to become a foster parent.
Since we became foster parents, we have fostered about 15 plus. It's sometimes challenging but fun because you see the different personalities, you see how they react, and it's good. I'd rather have the larger number than the smaller.
The greatest need for placement in Suffolk County are for teenagers and for groups greater than 3.
And the goal is always reunification. And it comes to a point where you know that these children aren't going home. And then you go through a period of sadness. Sadness is, how am I gonna explain this when they're older? What can I do for them to make sure that they have a successful life?
If you're thinking that it's going to be just an easy, no life is going to be easy with your own children or with the county's children. Any little bit of love and care that they've given to a child is going to go with them for the rest of their life. And that will give them a coin in their pocket to hold.
I was a foster parent. I have a beautiful adopted, almost 5-year-old son. It was a great experience doing the other side of the process where I was the foster child and then I went through the classes to become a foster parent and foster him. You take a child from birth, it's trauma. You take a child at 18, it's trauma. And it really was a learning opportunity for me to better myself. For him, I still keep it in the back of my mind, this child's adopted, he is my son, and there's no denying that. That is my child, that is my baby. And I'm sorry, I get emotional talking about him. It's really a blessing to my life.